Hi everyone. In this video, I will provide an overview of the core reading maze comprehension test, including its purpose, administration procedures, scoring, and how the results can be used to guide instruction. The core reading maze comprehension test is a group administered assessment designed for students in grades 2 through 10. It serves as a screening tool that provides a quick estimate of students' general reading proficiency and basic reading comprehension. The assessment takes approximately 3 minutes to administer, making it an efficient tool for identifying students who may require additional instructional support. Therefore, you may ask, what's the purpose of this assessment? The core reading maze is a multiple choice closed assessment completed silently by students. After the first sentence of a passage, every seventh word is replaced with 3-word choices. Students must determine which word best fits the meaning of the sentence and the overall passage. Unlike assessments that focus solely on reading speed or accuracy, the maze measures whether students can use context, vocabulary, grammar, and meaning to comprehend what they are reading. Its primary purpose is to estimate a student's overall reading proficiency and basic comprehension skills by determining whether they understand the gist of a passage while reading independently. Now, how do we prepare ourselves to administer this assessment? Before you administer the assessment, you need to gather all your necessary materials. Each student will need the appropriate maze passage, and on your screen here is displayed a passage for a 4th grade student. This is the one we're selecting, but it doesn't matter which grade you're in, the passage is provided for you. Okay, so the passage is provided for students from grades 2 to grades 10. As your students will also need their pencil, and you will need a timer. As students will be timed 3 minutes to complete this assessment. The student should write their name and the date at the top of their passage before placing it face down until instructed to begin. Now, if a student have never taken a maze assessment before, it is recommended that you administer the practice activity given to you. During the practice, explain that students will read silently, and whenever they encounter 3 bolded word choices, they must circle the one that makes the most sense in the sentence. Now, as the examiner, you can model the first few examples by asking questions such as, does this word make sense? Or why does this choice fit? Then guide students to identify the correct answer before allowing them to complete the final practice item independently. This practice ensures that students fully understand the assessment expectations before beginning the timed test. Now let's take a look at how you'll administer this assessment. Once your students understand the directions, instruct them as follows. When I say begin, turn your paper over and start reading silently. Whenever you come to 3 bolded words, circle the one word that makes the most sense. Only one answer is correct. Work quickly but carefully. If you finish early, check your work. You will have 3 minutes. Ask if there are any questions before starting the timer. When everyone is ready, start the timer and say begin. During the test, monitor students to ensure they are circling only one answer for each item. However, do not assist the students in selecting answers. After exactly 3 minutes, say stop. Put your pencils down and collect all assessment materials. Now, here's what you do when you collect those materials. This is a blank test item. However, I am going to show you a completed one or an attempted test item. Now, this is our student, Caden, right? Or fictitious name. And he's a fourth grade student because this is the passage we're working with. Now, in order to score Caden, we will have to first count the total number of items Caden attempted. And because it was done for you, we have the number of items Caden attempted, which is 14 items. So he attempted 14 items, right? Now then you have to check how many items Caden got incorrect. And if you notice the examiner here, place an X beside the incorrect items and a check mark beside the correct items. And the score was recorded. Caden got 9 items incorrect. He got 9 items incorrect. And then you'll have to check how many items he got correct. And Caden got 5 items correct. These numbers might look and sound foreign to someone who doesn't know how to read this data. And that is no problem. That is why I am here. Now, this number or these numbers are significant. They are gold for us. This is the only way we are going to know what level our student is at and if our student will need intervention. So the result for a student final score is representing here at the bottom of his form, his worksheet. Now we're going to see what we need to do with these numbers, with this score. Let's get into it. Now here we have a map or a diagram showing us how to interpret those numbers. Again, we are working with a fourth grade student, so this is where we need to look for fourth grade. Another important information we need to know in order to interpret Caden's result is when this assessment was administered. And based on the date on his worksheet or his form, we see that it was administered in fall. All right. Now we have to go down and look for those numbers to see what level of performance our student is at. In order for Caden to be at the benchmark level, which is where we want him to be, he needs to get at least 13 items correct. Let's go back to Caden's work form and see if he got at least 13 items correct. All right. So Caden attempted 14 items. However, he only got 5 items correct. So Caden is not at the benchmark level where we want him to be because he only got 5 items correct. Now we want to check if Caden is at the strategic level. And if he's at the strategic level, we know that intervention is going to be necessary because we know Caden got only five items correct. Oh, wow. Yes. So because we know he only got 5 items correct, and to be at the strategic level, Caden should get 10 items correct. He's still below 10. So we know that Caden is not at the strategic level. Therefore, we have to go down to the intensive level, and there you have it. To be at the intensive level, the student needs to get 5 items correct, and Caden is exactly at the intensive level. So if he has 5 or less items correct, he's at the intensive level. So this data is telling us that our student Caden needs explicit systematic intervention or instruction, right? So that's the importance of interpreting our data. Very, very, very important to see where or how our student is performing, if they are at the benchmark, strategic, or intensive level. Now, when you're interpreting the scores, you have to bear in mind or consider other assessment data rather than relying solely on the maze. Again, if you had watched my previous video talking about assessment, you'll realize that for this age group, we start at the top and then we go down to find the lowest unmastered skill for the student. So we will not just stop here at the maze, but we will continue our assessment until we find the lowest unmastered skill for the student. Now, our results will help us to use guided instruction. So students performing below benchmark should receive additional opportunities to strengthen reading comprehension through strategies such as partner discussion, summarizing text, retelling stories, answering comprehension questions, and explaining why one answer makes more sense than the others. In summary, guys, the core reading maze comprehension test is a quick and effective screening assessment that measures students' ability to comprehend text while reading silently. By administering the assessment consistently, scoring accurately, and analyzing the results alongside other reading data, educators can make informed instructional decisions that support student growth in reading comprehension. Thank you for watching this overview of the core reading maze comprehension test. I hope this demonstration has provided a clear understanding of the assessment process and how the data can be used to improve students' learning. See you in the next video.